What made you think, wow, I'm actually a genius? I had a girlfriend who started getting real lazy with oral hygiene or something, so her breath started to get unbearable. The problem was that she couldn't take confrontation at all. Also didn't want to make her feel less attractive. What solved it was whenever her breath was alright I complimented it. I guess the trick was to make her more conscious of it in a positive light. Yeah, it's manipulative, but in my fucking genius, bro. When I went in for a review with my boss, and they asked what I think about working with two specific coworkers of mine, and they looked extremely shocked when I said it's been great. That's when I realized I have a gift with people. Apparently I can work well with anyone, even people that have caused issues with others. Neat. I'm mediocre at pretty much everything, and awful at plenty of things, so I'm holding on to this one. I'm the human whisperer. I needed to weigh out 400 g of flour when baking, but realized we'd thrown out our set of scales a week before. So I got a rolling pin, a chopping board, a spirit level and 2 plates, same size from the same set, to basically build my own set of scales in my kitchen. I then placed a 400 g tin of tomatoes on one plate and just poured flour onto the other one until it balanced. Sent pictures to my and mother to show I can function as a human. Boom. When I was 11, my classroom had a Macintosh computer hooked up to a transparent LCD screen that you would set on top of an overhead projector so students could see whatever was on the computer screen. At the end of the year we had time to kill, so I brought in my Nintendo 64 and we were playing games on a TV in the corner of the classroom. I realized the Mac had a composite video input for video capture, so I found the application that let you view the input in real time, full screened it, and turned on the projector. Was the class hero that day? When I discovered that most staplers have 2 settings. Normal staple is for small stacks of paper. Flip the metal square on the bottom to have bent out staples for big stacks of paper. It all started in the 7th grade. We were supposed to design an ABC's book of things, such as ABCs of music instruments or the ABCs of animals, etc. You got points for getting something for all 26 letters if you could. I did mine in 5 minutes without research. The ABCs of imaginary things. Boom. Done. I'm a genius. I proved my insane brain skills over a decade later when someone was working on adding some green beans to a potluck dish for our workplace potluck. After opening the lid, it fell inside the can and they could not reach it, and had no tools to pull it out. So of course, I instantly solved the problem by picking up the can and turning it upside down. Everyone was impressed that I had discovered gravity. Either that or all the people that were brainstorming ideas to fix the problem were embarrassed by how simple the solution was. Either way, these situations both made me feel like my brain actually works. There you go, the only 2 times in over 4 decades of life that I felt smarter than the average bear. Now to wait and see how many of these posts go straight to r/I am very smart. When I was in college, there was this guy who was full of shit. He was from my area and roommates with my then best friend, so I figured I'd start talking to him. He seemed okay at first, but when I mentioned local things around the area I'm from, he told me I was wrong. Dude, I know my fucking city. His stories also seemed incredibly implausible, though everyone seemed to believe him. But if you tell me I don't know my own city, then I'm gonna start to get suspicious. I start investigating him online. Turns out he was from the total opposite side of the state. He told us he grew up in the hood getting jumped all the time when he grew up in the sticks. Once I realized he was capable of lying about this, I realized he probably lied about everything else he said, so I just assumed it was a lie as soon as he said it. It's been at least 5 years now, so I don't remember what half of them were, but I caught him in a lot of lies. And once I realized he was not above snitching on his friends, and a friend of mine got in trouble, I knew exactly what happened. I'm known among my friends as the kinda derpy one, so it felt really awesome when they started to realize that yes, Reaper knew this all along. We did not, and maybe he's actually kinda smart. I then told my friends that we would keep the secret, that we would pretend we still believed him, and would not possibly think he was a snitch. In the meantime, I just asked him questions to see how he'd answer. My buddy, his roommate, loved this and upped the game one further. One day he looked at his Facebook friends list and said, "Wow, you have a lot of friends from real town." Just to see his reaction. 2 weeks before the end of the year, after a particularly bad incident, my buddy let it out that we knew. And with his cover blown, he dropped out. There were 2 weeks left. I was taking the final in a stats class. I came to a problem that just seemed insanely hard, and it took me a really long time to figure out how to solve it. Turns out I had missed a key day during which the class had learned some crucial theorem. I realized that I had literally discovered this famous theorem myself during the final to solve the problem. I'm generally pretty average, but that one time I was like, damn, am I a genius? When I was like 7, my parents lost a knife or fork down the sink. They kept trying to fish it out, and I suggested a magnet. Before I could finish, they taped a magnet to the end of a screwdriver to get the utensil out, except the magnet didn't fit down the opening. I kept trying to tell them what my actual plan was, but they blew me off, saying it wouldn't work. Finally, I blurted out, "Tape the magnet to the base of the screwdriver, so it magnetizes the metal. It'll fit like that." They froze in their tracks, looked back at me with wide eyes, looked at each other, and then said something to the effect of, "Holy shit. Plan worked perfectly." They thought I was some kind of wonderkind from that point on. And I was. My friend put 6x6x6x6 etc. into a calculator, and then I had to guess how many times he done it. I guessed like 21, so he put the answer to the 21st root in the calculator, and it came to 6. I got it right 4 times in a row, and I've never reached that peak ever since. I briefly thought I had cured cancer because I was reading a fiction novel set in the aftermath of atomic bomb where I read that radioactivity can destabilize DNA and kill cells. I thought, damn, I bet we could use that radioactivity to kill cancer cells. I asked my smartest friend about it, and she kindly let me know that radiotherapy was already a thing. In my defense, I was around 12 years old. Back when I was in school, our English teacher asked us to be prepared for a 10 to 15 minutes public talk in front of the whole class regarding any interesting topic. She gave us 2 weeks to prepare. After 2 weeks, every class she will choose one person to deliver the talk. Being the most optimistic student, I thought, no way I will be chosen anytime soon. And guess what? My name came up during the 3rd lesson that month. Being not prepared at all, I kept my cool and walked to the front of the class. On my journey there, I saw my class organization chart. Clever me walk straight to the chart and start talking about my classmates whose names were there, judging all their qualities and what I think of them. Teacher said it was one of the best talks she ever heard. Almost 15 years later, I still have this proud face whenever I think about it. I stumbled upon porn at quite a young age, before I had even started masturbating, and one day I saw the girl jerking the guy off, and I thought to myself, hey, I can do that. So I went to the bathroom and jerked off for the first time and thought I was legit a genius. Then I was surprised to know other people knew how to do it later on. D. Solved the dankest problem on my exam and failed the rest of it. Like, I very well may have been the only one to receive credit for it, because the maximum score was 200 and this question was 30 points. The high score of the class was 170. I didn't get much more than the 30, but my god, lem tell you, it's a paradox how I could attain this level of mastery and cannot solve the simple one-step problems, but solved this 40-step monstrosity. Making Pathfinder character builds for the stupidest reasons. Hey, how big can I make my animal companion? Druid 9/Mammoth Rider Prestige Class 1. Huge animal companion that can become gargantuan temporarily with an application of animal growth. Have a carrying capacity / combat maneuver bonus 1 size higher because of the hefty brute feet, and can double their attack damage with 1 application of strong jaw. Normally makes attacker plus 2 sizes higher, but just doubles it if the creature is gargantuan / colossal. I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my line of work, and I'm usually very hard on myself and get stressed out when I feel that I could do something so much better, or that I'm taking too long to get something done. Many peers have told me that it's all on my head, that my work is good, and that I work quickly, but I did not believe it until I recently started a new job. The company has an office in the States, and a project in my line of work was given to a contractor in a big city over there. Lots of money invested, and, man, the work they have done is the bare minimum. I realized that if these people could make the big bucks and get away with such mediocrity, that I'm honestly very advanced in my field. A genius. Now I just have to figure out how to make that kind of money. My school is trying to decrease our recycling by not giving out plastic cups to drink from, so we need to bring bottles. I haven't got one, so when I was thirsty I decided to tear up paper and fold it into a cup that I could drink from. Worked too, but I wouldn't advise drinking from it more than twice as the bottom got soggy quick. I had to do a TED Talk type presentation for English 8th grade. We had multiple months to work on this, and I never did any of the work because I procrastinate. I got up on presentation day and talked about improv for 5 minutes and then revealed that my note cards were empty. I got an A. Whenever I saw someone being a Karen to a server etc, I'd just be obnoxiously nice to them so that Karen overheard. This was fun for me and the server. Occasionally I get free shit because of it. I'm a genius. I'm not a genius, and it feels weird to call myself one because it's a win-win. Be nice people. When I was younger, my mom used to buy the Hershey's syrup in the squeezable bottle to make chocolate milk. Aka one of the reasons I'm fat now, but it's fine. So me being the fatty I am, notices there's *BARELY* any more chocolate syrup left in the bottle. Cue me getting a funnel and funneling milk in the almost empty Hershey's bottle, shaking it and then emptying it into a glass to get the final effect of the Hershey's bottle. I didn't actually feel that genius vibe until I told my college roommates about it a few years back. The look on their face was incredible, and they tried it. Still not sure if a genius or a fatty. I had an FSA for work, but I knew was going to quit towards the beginning of this year. So for the year of 2019, I chose the maximum yearly contribution for my FSA, $5,000. Once January rolled around, I had access to my entire year's worth of FSA money, but my contributions would only be paid throughout the year from my paychecks. So I just used all of my FSA money on appointments, glasses, chiropractic stuff, etc. and then quit. So I only had like $150 taken out of my paychecks before I left, but I spent $5,000 of FSA money that I don't have to pay back. Suck it, Walgreens. Took the licensure exam for teachers a while back at the instigation of my mom to see if I could qualify for a teaching position despite lacking a third of the credits necessary to graduate with degree in education. Actually, I was in a liberal course and partly took the test to see if I could pass it. I did and was also within the top 10% of the examinees who passed. This part week my entire job got hooked on this food ordering all where we all go free lunch. Technically it was $1, but the app gave you $5 for signing up. The thing is, since I was at a -$4, I might as well used it as money for topping for my lunch. Got a bunch of stuff, and while I went over, still just paid $0.50. I felt like I discovered fire. One time I spelt a really long word when I was like 10 correctly, and my dad flipped his shit like my daughter's a fucking genius. Yeah, not exactly. I entered a spelling bee 4 years later and got out on the second round. Spelt apparel with 1 P. FML. Everyone called me the walking dictionary as a kid because I knew so many big words. I read AskReddit and their definitions and did use them against people to confuse them. But I couldn't necessarily. I know that's spelled wrong. Prime example there. Always have to look it up. Spell them. Didn't study for the ACT test at all, and I got a 28. I tried again, after studying like another 3 days, and got a 32. I felt like I had no idea what I was doing with the second test either. Still couldn't finish even 1 semester of college, so I honestly think it was a fluke. Someone I was acquainted with in university was looking at an LED desk lamp, then away, back again, away, and eventually said she was trying to count all the separate LEDs but couldn't because it hurt her eyes to stare too long. I looked at it for a second or two, long enough for the light to leave after images in my vision, closed my eyes, and counted the dots. It was laid out in a rectangle, 7x4, so I think another part of what astounded her was that it looked like I counted to 28 in 2 seconds flat, but her reaction made me feel like a damn genius. Back when I worked in an auto headlining factory, someone hit a fire sprinkler on the ceiling with a high-low. It ruined a few crates of headliners. We stopped production to comb through the damaged goods. We combed for hours, until we had 2 crates left. One had 1 headliner, the other had 29. We needed 30 to finish a crate. She and the other workers were going to empty the entire 29 headliners into the crate with one. I told her we already checked the 29 count crate. Why wouldn't we just put that last headliner in and finish it off? They all looked at me in awe. To be fair, there was a lot of confusing paperwork and my supervisor was not prepared for the massive ruined parts. Yay me for working smart, I guess. Still didn't get that raise though. Probably when I exploited the high school's hall pass system. IDK, it wasn't that big a deal. I just noticed most teachers would check and then hand them back for some reason. Like almost all of them. Had one huge bitch of a photography teacher that made it a point to throw a bitch fit if you dare to go ask her to fill one out for you. Okay, bitch, I thought, I'll fill mine out in pencil. So, with essentially a reusable hall pass, written in pencil, with her signature on it, I cut so many classes so often. And I was an honors student, so it was no big deal, but felt so rebellious to my goody two-shoes teacher's pet self. I used it to get me and my friends into the dark room at any time I wanted. For actual photography, because I was super passionate about it, still am, and I really miss having a dark room. I would just erase the class to be excused from, add in friends' names too. Never got caught.